Speed Force issue 1, Jarrett Williams writing with Danielle Di Niccolo on the art. So this is our secondary flash book, with Wallace and Avery being the main characters. And so it was very intriguing having a second flash book for the first time in a long time. I mean, third technically if you count the Jay Garrick book, but the Golden Age characters kind of feel like their own separate little line.
They're kind of, I don't want to say they're walled off because they're not really walled off, but I do feel like they're off in their own corner.
Yeah. Sadly though, I kind of hated this book. Matt, I don't know how you felt.
Bro, me too. I was waiting to hear what you said before. I don't hate the idea of it. I like where it ends up, kind of. The dialogue though was very hard to read.
Oh, and it's like, one, there was a lot of it, but two, it felt it just didn't flow very well. There was just moments where I was like struggling to piece together the sentences. It was weird.
Yeah, there was that, and I couldn't tell whose narration we were supposed to be getting early on. Like, is this Avery? Is this Wallace? And then when he said my family, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is Wallace. But it was just kind of all over the place. A lot of this, again, social media stuff. I get annoyed when they just try to make their own thing, right? So, like, I think it's called ViewTube in the DC universe. Like, we've seen that in, like, the Cyborg book and other places. And it always just comes off as hollow. Like, this is one of my big issues with the Fire and Ice book and why I kind of had to drop it, is it's trying to be too much of modern times. And by doing that, I feel like the writers get over their skis. And it just ends up coming off like, I don't want to say cringe, but it feels off. And I get distracted and then I end up not wanting to read it.
Yeah. I think the art's a little hit and miss as well. There's like Connor's face, because Connor Kent, Superboy, is on the first couple of pages. He's playing video games with Avery and Wallace, and his face on that first page is something else. Like,
it's rough.
He looks bad. Like, I think Wallace and Avery look fine. They look very animated, like because they're really into the video game and look very angry. Oh, I'm going to kill you in a really fun way. But Connor looks awful. Yeah,
the still shots are tough in this whole issue. The action sequences when the flashes get going, I feel like DiNicolo's art is pretty okay. Like, it's still not my favorite. It's still very manga inspired. And, that's a taste thing. But, once they start running around, I feel the art really comes into its own. But anytime they're just kind of standing around talking, it's rough times.
Yeah. I didn't think it flowed very well. I thought it was a chore to get through this, to be honest. Like, like the talking back and forward was just very irritating to actually listen to. Basically, Wallace and Avery, the plot here is that after they're playing video games for, which felt like a long time, to be honest. It felt like we took up like a third of the book with this opening scene.
That game it's supposed to be like Smash Brothers, right? Like,
sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Although those are definitely PS4 inspired controllers they're holding.
Yes. Yeah, and that's where again, whatever. That's art doing art. It's the DC universe,
but they basically detect like some stuff running in the Speed Force or something. Something's not quite right. Roundhouse has got a little cameo because he was meant to show up and play video games with them, but he didn't show up. But they go racing looking for what this anomaly is, and it's these two people running at speedster speeds in like red and white suits, and they're trying to stop them. But basically, after they have a bit of a chase and I don't want to say a fight per se, but the ultimate realization here, to sort of just skip to later on when they're sort of deducing what's happening, is that Music Meister is turning a bunch of people into his own evil speedsters, and he's using the power of frequencies and harmonies to make them run fast or something. I'll be honest, like, I'm looking through this.
I got so confused at that last page.
Yeah.
Not the last page, but the one where they go to the headquarters of what I thought was Spotify, which is weird, right?
Even before that, though, I'm looking through this issue as we're talking about it, and I'm like, I don't remember like a lot of what this middle of the issue, other than just them chasing after these other two characters was.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of nothing. And then you get to the headquarters of the bad guy, and it's all these people in these white and red suits with music symbols on their chest, and the narration from the villain going across the top of the page, like, I found that such a chore to get through. Like, he's just monologuing about shit, And then the final
did you go ahead?
I was gonna say the final page is just him with lots of speech bubbles, just like, I mean, here's I'm going to read the final speech bubble, right? I just want, like, does this make any sense to you? Let the melodies soothe your mind and eye. The music meister. I'm your guide now. I'll school you in the best practices for success here at Moving Forward. Rewiring your brainstem, cerebral reasoning, neutralized, check. Yes, too damn easy. I feel like I know what the writer's going for with that type of tone, but it's not working for me at all. I just found that a chore to read.
So what this company is, right? I felt like they were like a streaming service, you know, like Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. And he was almost like hosting a show, right? And that show is hypnotizing people, you know, using these harmonies and stuff.
The service is called Symphony with two E's at the end.
Symphony, yeah. And so the two speedsters that he gets are Mas and Menos, who are two Spanish-speaking speedsters that were on, I think, on the original Teen Titans show. So as far as I know, they already had a tie to the Speed Force, so that made sense. But then when we end up at this headquarters and everybody's wearing, like, Hydra uniforms, like that's this red, like, Symphony, I got so lost in that. And I'm like, okay, so wait, is he unlocking, like, the Speed Force for random people through using harmonies and vibrational frequencies, which makes sense. But if that's the case, how is he, like, is he hypnotizing them? Like, it didn't seem to make a lot of sense. And that's when I got to the end of this. I was like, ugh, I hope Pete didn't like this, because I don't have to read another, you know?
like I'm going to force you. I hated this. I thought it was a chore to read, and I knew probably just about 4 or 5 pages in that I'll finish it to talk about this first issue, but like, I knew I wasn't going to be reading issue 2 of this. Like, I could not give a shit what's going on here. Like, it was a shame. It would be cool to have a fun Avery and Wallace book. I just did not like how this was written. I don't think it flowed very well, and I don't like the dialogue of the villain, or even the dialogue of some of the heroes, to be honest. Like, the narration throughout, I just didn't like reading. Like, it just did not flow at all for me.
I feel this needed more editing. I feel like this needed to be more clear and concise.
Yeah, you know? I wasn't familiar with this writer, but certainly if I remember their name, which I don't think I will, but if I do, then I will not be looking forward to their future books based on this issue.
So when I looked at this at the shop, because I was going to pick this up, I tried to pick up Flash stuff, right, instead of getting it digitally. That's what I was going to do. And then I saw the last name of the writer was Williams. I go, wait. And for a hot second, I thought it was Williamson. I was like, Williamson back on Flash? I felt like I would have remembered this. So I open it up and I look and I'm like, oh no, it's Jarrett Williams. And that's not a name that I recognize.
I was wishing for Williams halfway through this, which is saying something.
Oh no.
Wow.
So they're doing a story in the Teen Titans Beast World Tour Central City. So I'm sure it's going to be more of these characters.
Yeah, at least that'll just be one story in an anthology issue, though.
Yeah, and then the other books Jarrett Williams has worked on seem to be Rick and Morty and Raiders Zim. Yeah, a lot of tie-ins to Cartoon Network stuff. So yeah, but this was one of those ones where, like, I'm pretty sure Pete's not going to like it, and I didn't know if Connor was going to be on, but I was like, Connor's definitely not going to like it, with the amount of speech bubbles and just kind of go nowhere.
No,
and stuff. It makes me feel like my regulator is on point at this point.
This was an instant, no way I'm reading issue 2. I hated this. So, all right, what are you rating Speed Force issue 1, Matt?
This is a 4.5.
Yeah, this is like a 3 for me. I thought it sucked.